Right. So 13 acts have to be amended. So it's a very, very, very big task in front of the Modi government. That's why the only way out to introduce a law bypassing parliament, or you can say that skipping the parliamentary proceeding, the only other way out to introduce a law is through ordinance, and that is what is also done by the Modi government. Okay, so they have introduced some amendments, okay, whatever they wanted, but through the ordinance under Article 123. Remember this point. Okay, then what are the salient features of, okay, what is the difference between 2013 Law Act and ordinance? We have to also study about this, no? Yes. Okay. As you know, Law Act says what? Law Act says 70% consent to be taken for which products? Dear sir and madam, tell me. 80% consent should be taken from people for which project? 70% consensus to be taken for which product? Okay, for which project? Fine. So you have understood, I guess. 70% in case of what? PPP projects. 80% in case of what? Private projects. Okay. And you also know that mandatory SIA should be there. Social impact assessment. For every project. For every project. So what has been introduced now? What has been introduced? You see here. Through the ordinance, all these will not be applicable. Ivanni applicable kaadu. Ordinance. Okay. To which projects? To 5 types of projects. అంటే ఈ 5 types of projects కి ఈ steps skip చేయాల్సి వచ్చింది. Okay, means we have to skip it. Okay, this 1, 2, 3. These 3 main important provisions will not be applicable to 5 projects. What are those? National security and defense. Okay, if government of India want to acquire a land at the border and want to make a military camp there, no SIA, no 70% families, what I say is consent, no 80%, nothing will apply. Government can directly take because it is the issue of national security. Okay, defense production, rural infrastructure, rural electrification, infrastructure and social infrastructure. Okay, if this is not there also this is okay. Social infrastructure, industrial corridors, housing for poors. Housing for poors like 2 BHK scheme like that. So for these 5 projects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. Okay, for these 5 projects it will not be applicable. It will not be applicable. These 3 provisions will not be applicable. So you can understand that government has given some importance to national whatever the infrastructure, and also on the basis of what? Security also. Now SIA, social impact assessment, mandatory for every type of project. SIA will not be needed for 5 categories listed above. Okay, PPP projects if government owns the land. Okay, under PPP project if government owns the land, then also SIA will not be applicable. Building private hospitals, private education institution will also count as a public purpose. Means they too can acquire land if 80% affected families agreed. Okay, because private hospitals, like I am opening a hospital or you are opening a college, basically for whom? For the public purpose only. You will not do for yourself. No, it's not your golf court, it's not your cricket ground, right? So basically in your college and in the hospital, lot of public will be served. Okay, so a private person, if he is also acquiring land for that particular purpose, so he also need to get 80% agreed, okay, of agreement from the people. Fine. So you can see that the ordinance has given exemptions in the name of what? In the name of national development. National development kosam, rural people kosam, infrastructure development kosam, okay, security kosam, ivanni applicable kaadu. Law Act lo unnavi. Fine. Compensation. Same, 4 times the market rate in the rural area, 2 times same. Stringent provisions for relief and rehabilitation. If the land is acquired, then whatever the provisions are there, compensation provisions are there, rehabilitation provisions are there, all that will be strictly implemented in Law Act of 2013. The same was continued in 2014 ordinance also. Private companies can acquire land, as I have told you, for the purpose of education and hospital, okay, because they also serve as what? Public purpose. Okay, private entities can acquire, private companies, NGOs, trusts, foundations, charity bodies, proprietors, etc. These are all called as what? Private people or private entities. Okay, they too can acquire land for the public purpose. So there is no changes there. Even private can do, even public can do, even public-private partnership. Three form of establishment of any infrastructure projects is allowed in Law Act of 2013 and also in ordinance. Both are same. If any mischief played on the government's part, if government workers, government officers are not doing their work properly, then they will be severely punished. In the same way, head of the department cannot be prosecuted without prior sanction of government. Very, very important. Okay. So if I file a case on a public officer, revenue officer who is in charge of the land over there, if I file a case on him, okay, police cannot arrest him until unless he don't get the permission from the government. Okay, with this will help him to properly discharge his duty because nobody will file a case until because he has to give the explanation to what government explanation ఇవ్వాలి. ఓకే, ఇచ్చేస్తాడు, అయిపోతుంది. బట్ ఒట్టిగా మీ మీద ఏదైనా గ్రచ్ పెట్టి నేను నాకు మీరు ఫేవర్గా చేయట్లేదు కాబట్టి ఐ విల్ కంప్లైంట్ అగేన్స్ట్ యూ అట్లా ఉంటే ఎట్లా నడుస్తుంది? నడవదు. రైట్ ఆర్ రాంగ్? ఎస్. Okay, this immunity is given to ensure bureaucrats don't sit on the files fearing media trials and judicial activism. Okay, files తొందరగా క్లియర్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, పర్మిషన్స్ ఎవరిది, కాంపెన్సేషన్ ఎవరికి ఇవ్వాలి, లిటిగేషన్స్ ఉంటే తొందరగా స్క్రూటినైజ్ చేసి ఈ ల్యాండ్ మీది ఏమని చెప్పేయాలి. ఓకే, సో నేను ఒక యాజ్ అ కలెక్టర్ ఈ ల్యాండ్ మీది కాదు, ఏది కాదు, బీది అని చెప్పిన అనుకోండి, బీ నా మీద కేసు ఫైల్ చేస్తే మళ్ళీ నేను కోర్టుకి వెళ్ళాల్సి వస్తుంది. సో ఈ భయంతో నేనేం చేసిన అంటే ఫైల్స్ అస్సలు నేను పర్మిషన్ ఇవ్వట్లేదు, అప్రూవ్ చేయట్లేదు, అట్లానే పెట్టిన. అట్లా పెడితే ఏమవుతుందంటే గవర్నమెంట్ అడితే సార్ అది లిటిగేషన్లో ఉంది సార్, అట్లా ఉంది సార్, ఇంకా కనుక్కుంటున్నాం సార్, ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్ అవుతుంది సార్ అని చెప్తున్నాను అనమాట. విత్ దట్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్, ద డెవలప్మెంట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ ఆర్ గెటింగ్ హార్మ్డ్, ద డెవలప్మెంట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ ఆర్ గెటింగ్ డిలేడ్. That is the reason to protect me, government introduced this provision in the ordinance లో ఈ ప్రొవిజన్ తీసుకొచ్చింది గవర్నమెంట్. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు నేను తొందరగా ఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, గవర్నమెంట్కి వెళ్ళి చెప్పుకోవచ్చు. ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు గో టు ది హైకోర్ట్ అండ్ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు గెట్ డిఫేమ్. అండర్స్టూడ్? Yes. Judicial activism, as you know that, judicial activism is when nobody is filing the case, but it is a very burning issue. Nobody is filing the case, but it is a very burning issue. Okay. So when this particular like Pegasus is there, Pegasus, so spyware. Okay. No one has filed a case. Then what court has done? Court has taken the case by itself. There is no complaint. There is no plaintiff. Nobody complained it. Okay, but still High Court seeing the situation, court seeing the situation, వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే they will take case by themselves and they will give the judgment by themselves. This is called as so moto. This is called as what? So moto. వాళ్ళే కేస్ టేకప్ చేసుకొని ఆ బర్నింగ్ ఇష్యూ మీద జడ్జ్మెంట్ ఇచ్చేస్తారు. ఓకే, సో హియర్ ఆల్సో ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు ప్రొటెక్ట్ ది ఆఫీసర్స్ ఫ్రమ్ జ్యుడిషియల్ యాక్టివిజం. Okay, so if someone complains me about I am corrupt like that, and there is a lot of people are also saying that I am corrupt, then what happens is court can directly suspend me. Court can directly order the government to suspend me. So unnecessarily ivanni kichkich endukani, okay, the bureaucrats will not work and they will happily said, okay, let the process happen by itself ani anukuntaru vallu. Okay, to protect the bureaucrats, to make the process very very easy and very very speed అయిపోవాలి, తొందరగా పర్మిషన్ దొరికేయాలి. For that purpose, okay, this provisions, he is immune. He has given what? He has given immunity from prosecution. Prosecution ante arrest చేయడం, case వేయడం, that is prosecution. I will prosecute you means I will arrest you and I will charge you ani. Fine. Exempted categories, so you can say, see here, defense, rural infrastructure, only infrastructure is also there. Okay, Rural infrastructure means irrigation, dam, like that. Means which is important only for rural areas, not for us. In general, infrastructure means electricity, poles, towers, okay, metro, roads. These are general infrastructure. It is for good for urban people also and rural people also. Industrial corridors, you know that. Industrial corridors are nothing but a separate package, separate ways for what? Industrialized goods. Okay, like that. Bharat Mala project is there. Okay. East-west industrial corridor is also there. North-south industrial corridor is also there. So what is this means? Here only, okay, goods carrying trains, goods carrying very big lorries will run. Okay, only goods, not passenger, not for us. Separate service road ani antaru kada. Alanti service lo ila nadustunayi. Industrial corridors. Ante to avoid them to come across what passengers and delay enduku avvali, tondaraga fast move avvali. Okay, goods time ki deliver cheseyali dan kosam. They were called as what? Industrial corridors. And housing for poor, you know it very well. Okay. Let us see the important clauses under this Law Act of 2013. Law Act of 2013, important clauses చూద్దాం. Clause number 98 belongs to 4th schedule. Belongs to what? 4th schedule. Okay. Absence of rehabilitation and resettlement provisions for some acquisitions. Okay. Means exempted category. Exempted categories where you will not see any rehabilitation and resettlement aspects. Okay. So, ఈ exempted categories లో ఉన్న various components, okay, exempted categories లో ఉన్న various components, okay, if government uses the land for that purpose, resettlement and rehabilitation apply అవ్వదు. Okay, అవన్నీ ఎక్కడ రాసి ఉందంటే clause number 98 4th schedule లో this provision is there. And clause number 98 also says that the bill specifies 16 acts such as Atomic Energy Act and the National Highway Act, which will be exempt from its provision. Exempt from its provision. So bill says that any land acquisition done by the Department of Atomic Energy and any land acquisition done by the National Highway Authority of India, when they do any land acquisition, ee bill lo unna provisions apply avvadu. Okay. The central government has the power to modify this list. Means ఇప్పుడు 5 categories ఉన్నాయి. Government can change it to 8 also, government can change it to 3 also. So you can understand. So government can modify this list. The compensation bill and the rehabilitation and resettlement provisions under some of these acts are different from this bill. Okay, whatever the compensation you will get for the land acquisition for some other purpose, and the compensation with respect to land acquisition for this purpose is different. They also properly mentioned it. So remember this point. So if in an exam, if you get the question like that, the 4th schedule of the Law Act of 2013 deals with, okay, absence of rehabilitation and resettlements for some land acquisitions ani cheppali. Okay, like Atomic, National Highway Authority exempted ani mata. Provisions, rehabilitation, resettlement provisions apply avvadu even needki, right? Or else you can say that clause 98 deals with exemptions to be given for what? Atomic Energy Act, National Highway Authority Act. Okay, like that. Okay, which clause of the government has given the power to modify the list under the land acquisition, rehabilitation, resettlement act of 2013 means you can say this clause. So ఈ clause లో అన్ని రాసి ఉన్నాయి, ఈ షెడ్యూల్లో అన్ని రాసి ఉన్నాయి. సో very important provisions and schedules we are learning. You should also remember because it is a complete chapter is there in the syllabus itself. Complete chapter ఉందండి syllabus లో, so you cannot skip it. Fine. For example, the National Highway Authority Act and the Atomic Energy Act provide that compensation shall be based on market value of the land on the date the notification is published. Okay, and both these act don't stipulate any rehabilitation and resettlement provision. Rehabilitation, resettlement, as I have already told you, rehabilitation means, okay, if the people are displaced from this area, okay, they have to be given some other area to survive. This is called as rehabilitation. And the people who have lost their livelihood, they should be given chance to work with them. Okay, if they're constructing dam, they should be given chance to do fishing, free of fishing in this area, in the dam, like that. That is called a resettlement. Okay. Clause 2 and provision 2 says that purchase of land by private companies. Okay, any land purchased by the private companies is dealt under which clause of Law Act of 2013, like that question may come. So clause 2, do that. Clause 2, do that. Okay. Rehabilitation resettlement provisions are mandatory for all private purchase. Okay, remember this point. 100 acres in rural areas or 50 acres in urban areas. If any private company, Tata, Birla, Ambani, if they acquire land this much, more than 100 acres and more in rural areas, more than 50 acres in urban areas, then rehabilitation resettlement are mandatory అయిపోతుంది అన్నమాట. వాళ్ళ పిల్లలకి జాబ్ ఇవ్వాలి, దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో కాల్డ్ యాజ్ రీసెటిల్మెంట్. డిస్ప్లేస్ అయిన పిల్లలకి వాళ్ళ కంపెనీలో జాబ్ ఇవ్వాలి, దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో కాల్డ్ యాజ్ రీసెటిల్మెంట్. రిమెంబర్ దిస్ పాయింట్. సో ఎనీ clause that deals with private companies is mentioned in clause 2. Then clause 4 deals with social impact assessment. Deals with no threshold for social impact assessment. No threshold means what? Now a land has been acquired by the government. Because of this land, 10 lakh people got displaced, houses got displaced, families got displaced. On 20 lakh employment means livelihood of people has got lost. Livelihood people has lost. అక్కడ వచ్చి అమ్ముతున్న వాళ్ళకు కూడా ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ లాస్ అయిపోయింది, లైవ్లీహుడ్ లాస్ అయిపోయింది. సో threshold means if 10 lakh families are getting displaced and 20 lakhs are getting affected, if any project does any of these two or both of these two, then project should not go forward. That is called as threshold. Threshold means maximum you will agree for how much impact on society. అది ఉంది ఇక్కడ. కానీ మన లార్ యాక్ట్లో థ్రెషోల్డ్ లేదు. అంటే ఎన్ని ఫ్యామిలీస్ డిస్ప్లేస్ అయినా సరే, ఎంతమంది ఇది ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ లైవ్లీహుడ్ పోయినా సరే, ఓకే, పట్టించుకోరు. దే విల్ నాట్ టేక్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. అండర్స్టూడ్ మై పాయింట్ హియర్? ఎస్. సో నో థ్రెషోల్డ్ ఈస్ దేర్. దెన్ ద బిల్ రిక్వైర్స్ SIA study to be conducted for every acquisition of land. Every project SIA study should be conducted, because historically we can have the data and we can criticize the governments. Okay, that's why every project has to be recorded and documented. There is no minimum threshold that is over. Okay, this could lead to delays in implementation of the various projects. Okay, so if the bill requires SIA study to be conducted for every acquisition of land, then the expert committee will be appointed. Okay, 2-3 economists will be there, environmentalists will be there, experts will be sitting in. Okay, and they will go and survey, and they will see what will happen to the fertility, what will happen to the biodiversity, what will happen to the livelihood, what will happen to the employment, what will happen this, that, etc. So they will go and they will do the research, etc., and they will submit to the government. So there is no time limit also. When they have to submit the SIA report, there is no time limit also. That is also one of the problems. So for every project is being conducted means the projects will be delayed and government welfare schemes could not be initiated. Okay, building public toilets under the total sanitation campaign or building bus shelters, for everything if government try to require the land acquisition, SIA should be taken. For small things also for SIA should be taken. That is not right. Okay. Clause 7, no detailed guidelines for the expert committee appraising the SIA. No guidelines. How to do, what parameters you have to do, okay, what is the method you have to use, how is the survey to be done, like that. No guidelines are given. Expert committee will be formed and they will think about themselves, okay, we'll do this. So government has not given a proper guidelines to them. The bill provides for independent multidisciplinary expert group which shall evaluate the SIA. I have told you the group multidisciplinary means economists, environmentalists, everyone will be there. The group would be required to assess whether the project serves the stated public purpose or not. The project is initiated for the purpose of a dam is to be built to irrigate 10 million hectares of land. Whether this particular purpose will be served or not by the acquisition of land here or not. This is important. Okay, it is in the larger public interest or not. Whether the land has been acquired. Okay, land has been acquired and it is serving only 100 people. It should not be like that. It should serve 900 people also. So larger public should be getting benefited because of that project, not the smaller public. Okay, the potential benefits outweigh the cost and adverse impact. Okay, very, very important point. The third one is also, if you construct any development project, whatever the benefits you are getting, this benefit should overweigh the losses that you are incurring because of displacement, because of migration, because of trauma, because of loss of livelihood. So the bill, on one hand, if it is supporting 1 lakh people, on the other hand, it has to only suffer, only 10,000 people should suffer. On the other hand, only 10,000 people should suffer. On one hand, if 1 lakh people get benefited, on the cost would be what? 10,000 people should be suffered. This is okay. But 1 lakh people get benefited, but 90,000 people are getting affected. This is not right. This is not right. So like this project has to be abandoned. They have to be stopped. Okay, that is what this is called as. The potential benefits outweigh the cost should be very, very important. Okay, there is no methodology how to do the SIA. Okay, no rules how to do the SIA. This could lead to lack of consistency in the assessment of project by different expert book. I appointed myself with you are there, your brother is there, my brother is there, my friend is there, your friend is there, we 6 people are there. We were asked to see that near the KBR park can we construct the metro. Near the KBR park can we construct the metro, because metro requires a lot of drilling, etc. Okay, all tremors will be there, etc. So the government asked us, so we have discussed everything, we went, etc. And at the end we said that the government, yes sir, you can do it. Okay, next time someone else will, after 5 years, it become mandatory. It become mandatory, then again they will be appointed, they will say yes, no for it, right? So there is no methodology. Okay, then when there is no proper guidelines and methodology to be followed, everyone will do according to their own will and wishes. Right or wrong? Yes, this is again a very big problem. Clause 3. Requirement of consent of the people is mentioned under clause 3 of the act. Consent of the people are mentioned in the clause 3 of the act. Please remember this point. Okay, the consent should be taken especially from agriculture laborers, sharecroppers and the landowners. 80% of the project affected people consent should give. Okay. This provision is also different from Industrial Dispute Act of 1947 and Companies Act of 1956, amended in the year 2013 also. Major amendment. Fine. So see, here some clauses there, but these clauses are different from these 2 acts. Okay. In all these acts, in case of closure or change of ownership of the company, consent is required to be obtained only from the owners. Only from the owners. Okay. See, but here owners should consent, agriculture labor should consent, sharecroppers should consent. Sharecroppers should consent. Okay. In case of closure or change of ownership. A has acquired a land, gave to B. Okay. While giving to B, only landowners of A has to be consulted in this act. But in this act, all of them has to be consulted. So different is there. So if the government takes the land through this act, they will file the case from this act. Okay, again litigations. Now, Law Act of 2013, clause 26 says, computation of compensation paid to the landowners. Computation of compensation paid to the landowners. Basis of calculation of market value of land in rural area. Compensation should be given on the basis of what? Market people. Okay. If any unclear compensation is there, shall be calculated on market value. Okay. And suppose my land has market value of 50 lakhs, but on my land there is a pump set is there, borewell is there. Okay, or a small two bedrooms are there. So this is called as land asset attached to land. What do we call it as? Assets attached to land. Okay, lekapothe oka ikkada house undi. Okay, housing, water house ఉంది. Okay, this is called as asset attached to land. So when the compensation is given for the land, they should also give compensation on the assets inside it. Asset inside it. Okay, value of assets కూడా తీసుకోవాలి. The market value of land should be minimum land value in the Indian Stamp Act 1899 and average age of top 50% of reported sale. Average of top 50% of reported sale price during the preceding 3 years. Okay. 2018, 2019, 2020. Okay. In these 3 years, fine. In this last 3 years, here the farmer has earned 10 lakhs. Here 15 lakhs. Here 20 lakhs. Okay. 2018, the farmer has got 10 lakhs. 2019, the farmer has got 25 lakhs. 2020, the farmer has got 20 lakhs. Fine. So, in the last 3 years, which year is having the highest sale? In the last 3 years, 2019 is having the highest sale because 25 lakhs the farmer has gone. So, whenever the land is acquired in the last 3 years, preceding 3 years, okay, average of the top 50% of the reported sale, top 50% of the reported sale. How much money that they have got for the top 50%? Top 50%, that average should be taken and that much should be paid. The land value. Clause 96 deals with subsequent transfer of or sale of land. If I acquired your land, I am the government, I acquired your land, but I want to sell to somebody else, that clauses are dealt in what? Clause 96. Okay. Then here also when it is being sold, computation of profit sharing may be difficult in some cases if the acquired land is transferred without any development. Without any development, they have not done any irrigation to it, they have not made the soil fertile, nothing they have done on it. Okay, then computation will become very, very difficult. 20% of appreciated land value must be distributed among the original landowners. Okay, so government acquired from me the land. Okay, but government did not do any development projects. Government is going to sell this. So government acquired from me 50 lakh rupees. Government, after 3 years, government did not do anything on my land. Okay, the land value appreciated, obviously, right? Land value పెరుగుతుంది కదా అండి. ఓకే, పెరిగి 70 lakhs అయిపోయింది. ఓకే, ఈ 20 lakhs ఎక్స్ట్రాలో 20% నాకు మళ్ళీ ఇవ్వాలి. అప్రిషియేటెడ్ ల్యాండ్. ఓకే, అప్రిషియేటెడ్ మీన్స్ ల్యాండ్ వాల్యూ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయిన తర్వాత ఆ ఇంక్రీజ్లో నాకు 20% ఇవ్వాలి. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో ఏ క్లాస్. ఇఫ్ ద ల్యాండ్ ఈజ్ నాట్ డెవలప్డ్ ఎట్ ఆల్, then clause 75 and clause 68 deals with no rehabilitation and resettlement provisions for the temporary occupation of land. Temporary occupation of land. Suppose from my home in Tolichogi, if the metro is going, కానీ మెట్రో పిల్లర్ కూడా రావట్లేదు, ఏం రావట్లేదు. గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చెప్పిందంటే ఒక 6 months ఇక్కడ ఉండకండి, యూ గో టు సమ్ అదర్ ప్లేస్, కానీ మాకు మీ ఇల్లు వద్దు, అవసరం లేదు, అది ఎలాగైనా ఫ్లైఓవర్ కింద వస్తుంది, సో వీ విల్ గివ్ యువర్ ల్యాండ్, టెంపరీగా మీరు వేరే దగ్గర ఉండండి. Okay, at this point, if ilanti displacement aithe, then there is no need to go for rehabilitation and resettlement. Villaki compensation ichese saripotadi. Compensation ichese saripotadi. That is there. Under the bill, the government may temporarily acquire wasteland or arable land for a maximum period of what? 3 years. 3 years varaku meeku vellumani cheppachu vallu. Okay, this raises 3 issues. First, the bill does not provide any guidelines for computing compensation. Okay, if temporary displacement అయితే పర్మనెంట్ డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్కి ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పేసిండు, 4 times the rate in the rural area, 2 times the rate in the urban area చెప్పేసిండు. కానీ ఇలా టెంపరీ అక్యుపేషన్స్ టెంపరీ అక్యుపై చేసుకున్నప్పుడు, టెంపరీ డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ ఉన్నప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ హ్యాస్ నాట్ గివెన్ వాట్ ఎనీ సచ్ థింగ్. సెకండ్, the RR provision mentioned in the bill would not be applicable to such acquisitions. That is already mentioned. Third, the bill specifies that in case of dispute between the owners of the land and the temporary occupants, like Tata, Birla, Ambani, temporary occupants are there, the matters may be referred to the Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Resettlement Authority. Okay, Tata వాళ్ళు గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం చేసిందంటే, గవర్నమెంట్ గేవ్ మై ల్యాండ్ టు టాటా. Tata has started a chemical industry here. chemical industry for 6 months like that, and this chemical went into my land and they have totally contaminated my land. ఇక్కడ నుంచి నాకు వాటర్ కూడా కంటామినేటెడ్ టాక్సిక్ వాటర్, ఓకే, మెర్క్యూరీ ఆర్సెనిక్ కంటామినేషన్ అంటే వాటర్ వస్తుందన్నమాట. ఓకే, సో ఒకవేళ ల్యాండ్ ఓనర్ది ల్యాండ్ ఖరాబ్ చేస్తే, ఓకే, ఎనీబడి ద అక్యుపెంట్స్ ఖరాబ్ చేస్తే, దెన్ ద మ్యాటర్ హ్యాస్ టు బి రిఫర్ టు ద ల్యాండ్ అక్విజిషన్ రీహాబిలిటేషన్ రీసెటిల్మెంట్ అథారిటీకి వెళ్ళాలి. ఓకే, వీళ్ళు ఏ జడ్జ్మెంట్ ఇస్తారు? Okay, you also call it as award or judgment, both are same. If this is given or this is given, whatever is given, okay, this is final. The judgment given by Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Resettlement Authority is final. It's not binding. It's binding actually. It's binding. Okay, and we'll ichina tarvata you cannot go to higher court. No appeal. You cannot appeal it. Appeal to the High Court. Compensation award for acquisition, not for temporary acquisitions. కంపెన్సేషన్కి వెళ్ళొచ్చు, తక్కువ ఇచ్చారు కాబట్టి ఎక్కువ ఇవ్వాలి, తక్కువ ఇచ్చారు అట్లా వెళ్ళొచ్చు, కానీ అక్విజిషన్ రిలేటెడ్ యూ కెనాట్ గో. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈస్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద బిల్. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ ఫాలోయింగ్ టు మీ. హ్యావ్ ఎ నైస్ డే. Bye bye, take care and do spread the all videos, okay, so that everyone will take the benefit of it. Have a nice